Welcome to Crossbody Drafts. My name is Evan.
I am Javier.
And this is a show where we draft wrestling things. This week on our podcast, Crossbody of Work, it is our fourth annual favorite month of the year, Haas Month. Javier,
Yes.
what's a Haas?
A Haas is a big man. Just a big
Anybody.
meaty man who be slapping meats.
Be a big anybody. We've covered some Haas female
Oh,
wrestling.
yeah, sorry. Just a big listen, my thing is that when I say big man, it doesn't just mean a big man.
It's a big man,
Just big person.
Big
Just
person.
Could be big lady.
We're talking a big person, muscular, big. Doesn't have to be super muscular, just a lot of mass,
Just a lot. Just a more spherical than the average human being.
A lot of gravitational pull on this person.
You'd be very afraid if you were paying for dinner.
There's a lot of different types of hosses, like the subsets of hosses, like the athletic hoss. There's like just the tall hoss, because there's a couple tall hosses.
There's some trimmer hosses.
There are some trimmer hosses. And today we are going to be drafting the best hosses in wrestling history. Now, here's the thing. At any point, one of us can argue that the person that they drafted is not a hoss, and the other person has to make a solid argument about why that person is a hoss.
I don't think we're going to have that issue for my board.
I don't think we will for mine either, but you never know. The other thing that we need to do is determine the draft order, and for that, of course, we go to everyone's favorite gimmick, the draft dime. Javier will flip it. I will inevitably call it incorrectly in the air.
You've gotten it right, what, once?
Once.
Okay.
This is episode 7?
8?
8? This is 8.
It's 8. Because I think you went 6 in a row without getting it.
I did go 6 in a row without winning. And that's why this time it's going to be Tails.
It is Tails.
Let's go. Now, I kind of didn't want the first pick because I wanted you to sit down. But that's okay. When I think of Haas wrestler, right, I am drafting based on what I think these people embody Haas. They might not be the best wrestler, but they embody Haas. When I think Haas, I think of them, and I want them to be great. And there's one name that comes to mind first when I think of great wrestler who is a Haas, who has never not been a Haas, will always be a Haas. Give me Big Van Vader.
Oh, wow. Wow.
It's not Anthony Bennett style pick. It's not. It's not that bad.
It's not. He's definitely in the mix, but he's just not. Like, I would not have picked him first. I'll tell you that.
When I think of a Haas wrestler, and I think of somebody, I'm like, if I described what a Haas was and I had to point to somebody, I would throw on a Vader match. And I would say, this man.
It's fair. That's fair.
I think he brings a culture to the organization. If I want Haas's, he's setting the tone.
I mean, listen, that's understandable, but if we're setting tones here, I need to get my locker room leader, and ain't nobody leading like the OG, the GOAT of all hosses, Andre the Giant.
That is a good pick. That was also on my board, was Andre the Giant. Andre is one of those weird things where he is, of course, a hoss. He's a gigantic man.
Huge.
Early Andre was like weirdly athletic.
Yeah, but I'm not thinking about early Andre.
You're thinking like teaming with Haku?
Yeah, I'm talking about teaming with Haku. I'm talking about like the dude that Hogan slammed, even a little bit before that, when he's just big man running the circuits.
He is a big man running them circuits. Okay. Now, I want to go to a modern hoss, and I feel like this is where you're going to argue with me if this person's a hoss or not.
Okay.
But I have heard this person described as a gorilla human hybrid, as a walking mountain, as just a pile of muscles. Brock Lesnar is a hoss.
That's my next pick. That was my next pick.
Let's go.
Fuck.
Brock Lesnar is the specimen that you would put as like the athletic hoss. Like because Vader's the hoss, like hoss premium, right? And then you got like athlete hoss, and that's Brock.
Oh, Brock is he's the you know how when you were like you finish creating your character in 2K, like your player, and then they show you who you're like.
He's the archetype, yeah.
He's the archetype. Like he's when you build an athletic hoss build, like they tell you your comparison is Brock Lesnar.
I always love when you do that in 2K and you get like a really weird player. It's like, yeah, you play a lot like Aaron Aflalo. And I was like, what?
I think I got
Why?
Austin. No, not Austin Reeves. Who the fuck was a weird one that I got once? It was
Did you
some
get Austin
random.
Rivers?
I got a Zach Levine once, and I didn't understand that one.
Well, it's like better than it's like, hey, you play like Zach Collins. I'm like, pardon?
I don't think they have Zach Collins as one of the archetypes. Let me
They
tell you.
shouldn't. They shouldn't. All right. You picked Andre first. Who's going second?
You hurt me with the Brock one. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm so glad I did.
And I kind of just want to throw away my whole draft and just hurt you. So, with my next pick, and I'm not even taking an argument whether this person's a hoss or not, because they are a hoss. Former WWE champion. We're drafting Big E.
Oh, yeah.
It's a hoss.
He is a hoss.
He is a hoss. Just for the titty meat alone, that man is a hoss.
I love Big E.
Yeah.
I love the New Day more than anything. They're the best. And Big E, I wish him all the health. If that means he can come back, great. If not, that's okay.
I just want him to never wrestle again.
No,
honestly,
if that's what it's going to be for his body, then just do your own thing.
If it's a possibility in like 8 years after time has passed and if things start getting more stabilized or whatever, like cool. But for now, just do commentary, do some shows if you want, be a backstage figure, on-screen character, whatever you got to be, Big E. You're one of the most talented individuals on that damn roster. Just take care of your chicken.
I genuinely think, too, people forget sometimes, because it's been a while since we've seen him, how good he is. And obviously he was great during his WWE Championship run and all the build up to him winning the title and winning Money in the Bank and all that. Go back and just watch early heel New Day.
Yeah.
It's so good. And he is such a dick with how big and strong he is. Like, that's the whole point. And he's so good. Just throwing around like Los Matadores, it's awesome.
It's fucking incredible. No,
right, so that pick hurts.
He's a great guy.
That pick hurts. Yeah. Let's go to history. Let's go. I went forward in time. Let's go back in time. If there's, I think, two guys specifically from a certain era that people think of with Haas wrestling, and I'm gonna pick the one that I am more familiar with because we've covered him on our podcast Crossbody of Work before. I want one of the most intimidating people that has like an aura. Like you see him and you're like, I don't know why I'm scared of him, but I am. I want Stan Hansen.
No. Not you taking my next pick again. No, not you taking my next pick again.
I'm on fire.
No.
Stan Hansen, for those of you who have not maybe heard many episodes of our podcast, you have to go and find the Stan Hansen episode. It was like sometime a year ago.
Yeah.
It is one of the most unhinged episodes I've ever heard of any podcast, not just ours, any. Yeah. Because Stan Hansen's interview, his promo is maybe the greatest 2.5 minutes of professional wrestling television I've ever seen.
No, it's definitely some of Virgil's promos, man.
That's true. Virgil's
those is number one. Virgil's promo is number one, but Stan Hansen's is absolutely right there. It's a tier below. It's in its own tier, but it's a tier below.
But it's a weird tier. It's a very weird tier. Stan Hansen, a legendary wrestler through the 70s, 80s, 90s.
Yeah, 90s even. Yeah.
Kicking people in all Japan. Just
incredible performer.
Yeah. Who do you got now that I took your next pick again?
I'm just going to hurt you again. I'm drafting Tomohiro Ishii.
I had Ishii on the board. He was a lot lower than I think you would assume I would have it.
I'm okay with that.
For those who don't know, maybe who don't follow Japanese wrestling, talk about Ishii.
They call him the Stone Pitbull. He's like, if he had to have an archetype, it's what's the least athletic version of a hoss. He's like a
grounded, like he can't move.
He's the like Kyle Anderson of wrestlers.
It's a good shout. He's moving in slow motion, but everything he does means something.
Yeah, it's great. Like honestly, I love Ishii. He's a hard hitter. He's just like a. Honestly, his name fits so perfectly. He's the Stone Pitbull. He's just like a pit bull when he's out there. He's great.
He bodies people. Okay, Ishii's a good pick. I had him on the board, not as high as maybe. I just
wanted to hurt you. It was revenge.
I have genuinely been able to go down my board in order thus far.
Yeah, well, I mean, my board got freaking ruined when you took Brock.
Blew it up. I go from the past to the future. I think he slimmed down a little bit, but I think he has the potential to go down as
Fucking lost.
the best in-ring Haas maybe
Lost this.
ever. You knew him before as Walter. You now know him as
Oh,
Gunter.
okay. You know what?
You gonna challenge?
I think we need to talk this one out
Okay,
because he's fucking skinny now. Like
true. But
a little
historically,
flabby,
he has
but
not been
like
skinny.
you know what? I'm gonna give it to you, but he wasn't on my board because I didn't think he classified as a Haas.
See, he has the Nikola Jokic timeline
Yeah,
where he used to be a bigger boy, and everyone still thinks of him as a bigger boy.
yeah, but he's not big boy. He's just not.
Not as big anymore.
He's not a big boy. He's got a
Now,
6-pack, man.
I'm willing to take Gunter off the board because I have two other picks that I think I'm totally fine with. But and I'm okay. We had the Gunter conversation because honestly, I think that's okay.
I don't think he's a Haas anymore. Is the issue? If you
Gunter
want to
could
tell
have been-
me WXW fucking Gunter is the one that you're picking, I'll take that. But like that Gunter, that's not Gunter. If you want to pick Walter, you can pick Walter.
That's
But
true.
Gunter's not a Haas.
I'm not going to pick Walter. I just wanted to talk about Gunter because he's so good.
Oh no,
He's so good.
He's one of the best in-ring workers in the world right now. It's not
All
even
right.
close.
If he's off the board, I will go continue down the list. This is where you now have chopped people off my list. This is where Andre was. This is where Big E was. This is where Ishii was. But I mean, let's respect longevity. Let's respect the fact that people underrate him. Let's respect the fact that we just covered him on the podcast starting this week. Give me the Big Show. You know he hates his theme song.
I don't know how you could hate. Listen, I would hate to have that as my theme song, to be fair. But
he was interviewed by Chris Van Vliet, and they asked him about it, and I guess he wanted a little bit more like bluesy, like just a little bit more like down home type music.
Was that
And
too
he's
Motown
like,
for him? Like
not Motown, but like a little bit more bluesy, a little bit more bluegrass maybe. And I guess Jim Johnson asked like, "Oh, what should I start with?" He's like, "Well, let's start with like Will," and like it's just like a an actual. And
my man's pissed that there's no banjo in it.
Instead, they went Will. It just really leaned into him being a big show.
I don't know if I fucks with it.
I kind of like it. All right, pick 4. Who you got?
This is who I thought you were gonna pick. Honestly, when you were talking about Gunter, I'm going with Keith Lee.
That is also on my board. Pick.
This is if Brock Lesnar is the clear archetype for athletic big men, Gunter is like the tier right below that. Keith Lee is the tier right below that. The guy is a freak. He is so fucking strong. He just like is doing some of the most athletic shit you'll ever see in your life, and he's got the pace to him. He's a fast guy.
Sure.
Really surprises you with his speed.
He does.
I'm wishing him nothing but the best as his run in AEW continues. It's been a relatively slow start. There's been some health stuff, obviously, that he's got to get back into condition with. But yeah, Keith Lee, very, very great wrestler.
He's limitless. That's the whole point. He literally has no limit. All right. Last round.
Neither does his fucking food order, let me tell you.
Last round. I will tell you, because I feel like any longtime listener of our podcast will need to. I considered King Mabel. I did. I considered him. I'm not going to go with him.
You know what? How about this? How about we both want him?
But there are other
But it's
Hosses.
Not fair for him to just belong to one of us. So
That's
I say
true.
that we make Mabel the honorary pick for the both of us.
We have like a shared custody of King Mabel.
Yeah.
I have a couple other people I could go with. The one who I'm looking at, he was actually lower on my board than some other people. But the more I think about like, who do I think of when I think of Hosses? I think I have to go with Bam Bam Bigelow.
Okay.
Because you're talking about like the movement aspect and the ability to do a little bit of everything. Bam Bam Bigelow has some matches that when you, if you don't know to go seek them out, you wouldn't seek them out because you're like, oh, I've heard of Bam Bam Bigelow, whatever, cool look. Fought Lawrence Taylor, that's awesome. If you watch like Bam Bam in ECW, he was just doing things.
He's good, man.
He was just doing things. So I'm gonna go with Bam Bam for my last pick.
It's a great pick. You've left me with a few people here.
Yeah, a couple options.
Not many. I got Rikishi on the board.
Yep.
Got Umaga on the board.
Yep.
And I've got someone who we might have to discuss a little bit. I don't know what your opinion on him is, but to me, I consider him a hoss. I'm going to go with Samoe Joe.
I consider Samoe Joe a hoss.
Thank you very much. I'm drafting Samoe Joe with my final pick. One of the best hosses out there. A man who was as dominant in the 2000s as it gets as a performer, who continues to go today. Hell, he's going to have a match at Wembley.
Yeah.
And, he's someone that this weekend coming up, I guess.
Oh yeah, when this gets released, absolutely.
Yeah, this coming up is coming. He's going to be having a match probably with CM Punk again, like 20 fucking years later. It's great. The longevity's great. He's still just as good. Not as he's obviously lost a couple steps in the ring, but he's still one of the best performers out there. And on the mic, he's untouchable. Samoe Joe, great wrestler, and I'm very happy for him to round out my draft.
That's a good shout. I will out myself, embarrassingly, left Samoe Joe off the board. That's bad. I gotta fire some scouts.
Boo.
We came with you of are they a hoss or not? Hoss or not?
Go ahead.
Haku.
I'm gonna call him a hoss, but also because he scares me.
I think it's the intimidation factor that really.
I think that adds to it.
It absolutely does. Yokozuna.
I mean, come on.
Kane.
No. Kane's a big man. He's not a hoss.
Exactly.
There's a difference. Like for every Joel Embiid, you have a Zach Collins. They're just like for every
I get what you mean,
a more apt comparison, it would be probably like for every Embiid, Jokic, Yusuf Nurkic, more like you have a Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, you have a Bol.
Yeah, like some guys are just skinnier. It's not that they can't do anything about it; they just don't eat.
Bruiser Brody.
That's a hoss right there.
And I think the most egregious thing, the guy missing from our list, Undertaker.
No, same as Kane, just a big man.
This one is a weird one. Cactus Jack, specifically Cactus Jack.
Ooh. Specifically, honestly, why didn't I draft Foley? I should have drafted Foley because he's a hoss.
I think it was because I was on the fence.
You know what? It's because I think Mick Foley is so many things that I don't think of him as a hoss wrestler.
Yeah, he's diversified his portfolio quite a bit.
Like you could say, extreme wrestler, just like a technician, a brawler. Like there's so many things about Mick Foley as a performer that like I just don't think of him as a hoss, even though he is one. He very much is a hoss. I just want to put that out there. Yes, he is a hoss.
Who's your favorite hoss going right now?
Going right now? Oh, dear God.
Brock,
it's probably Brock. But
Samoe Joe. Shout out to who else? Jeff Cobb? Jeff Cobb?
Yes. Oh, I'd love a Jeff Cobb. You know who it actually probably is right now?
Bronson Reed.
I love Jonah. Yeah, Bronson Reed. Yeah. So fucking good.
This podcast will always have a spot for the hosses. All right. Javier's 5. Andre the Giant. Big E. Tomohiro Ishii. Keith Lee. Samoa Joe. My 5. Vader. Brock Lesnar. Stan Hansen. The Big Show. And Bam Bam Bigelow. You get in the comments. You tell us who had the better draft. Who has the better set of hosses. Tell us your favorite hosses. Hit us up on Instagram at Crossbody of Work or Twitter. We're still calling it that, at Crossbody of Work. And be sure to listen to our podcast every week, wherever you get podcasts or here on YouTube. Hit subscribe, hit like, buy our merch, fullpressshop.com. Follow Javier on Twitter, wherever he tells you.
At JMello Sports.
And follow me at Devin Gomes, ITSEVANGOMES. Thanks so much for joining us for another draft. We'll be back soon. Talk to you then.
See ya.